So hello guys, my name is Sonia and you are watching Anime Recapped with Sonia. Let's start the video. So at the start of the episode we see that Alsha says to Beryl that from Spendyard some very special people are going to come there in the Bolt train. And then Alsha tells Beryl that the task of protecting those special people has been given to the Night Order. Beryl is thinking that those special people must be coming from the Church of Spain. But Henblitz tells him that their political and diplomatic matters are handled by their royal family. He is the head of their parliament, so he will be coming here. And then Alusha asks Beryl to help in giving security to those VIPs. Alusha tells Beryl that I will introduce you to the royal families of both countries. Beryl feels that this is becoming too much. So Alusha says to him that I know you don't like to come into limelight too much. But your position of being the special instructor has been approved with the royal seal. So hearing this, Beryl cannot refuse her and says okay to her. Then Alusha tells Beryl that if you are going to meet the royalty then you will also need appropriate clothes for it. So hearing this, Beryl tells her that okay, then I will find suitable clothes for myself. But Alusha, refusing him, says that you don't know much about the stores in the capital, so I will take you to the most reputable clothing store. So Beryl accepts Alusha's words and says okay to her. Then in the next scene we see that Beryl comes to his house and there a parcel has arrived for him. Beryl opens that box and we see that there are some clothes inside it. Beryl sees that there is also a note in it. Beryl reads it and after reading it he understands that maybe this parcel has been sent to him by a boy. Then he says to MUI that it seems that one of my friends has sent some clothes for you. Then we see that Beryl and MUI start having dinner and then Beryl tells her about guarding the VIPs and about shopping clothes with Alsha. Beryl asks MUI that would you like to come with us for shopping? So Maya refuses him. But Beryl again asks her and says that Alsha loves little children very much. So you should come with us. But Maya, without even listening, completely refuses him. So seeing this, Beryl thinks in his mind that for an old man like me it is very difficult to understand girls of her age. Then we see the next day's scene and we see that Alusha is wearing a very beautiful dress. Beryl praises her, so Alusha says thank you to him. And then both of them go shopping and we see that Karuni and Henblitz are following them. Then we see that Alusha brings Beryl to a store and Beryl finds that place very expensive. Then we see that both of them start looking inside the shop and Beryl sees that there are many good options there. But Beryl does not trust his own fashion sense. So he leaves the decision of choosing clothes to Alusha only. Then Alusha shows a dress to Beryl and Beryl finds it very fancy and flashy. The shop owner says to Beryl that this will suit you. So Beryl thinks in his mind that you are saying this because selling it is your job. Then Beryl asks Alusha to look at the other options and then thinks in his mind that leaving this decision to Alusha is dangerous. I should do this work myself. Then Beryl likes a dress. So Alsha says to him that this is too plain. So Beryl says to her that but for me this will be right and this also looks quite comfortable. So Alusha agrees and then Alusha tells the shop owner to keep that dress on hold and then they start going to other stores to see clothes and we see that Karuni and Henblitz are watching them. Then Alusha says to Beryl that till now we have not had lunch. So Beryl says to her then why don't we stop somewhere and have lunch? So Alusha says okay to him and then we see that they go to a restaurant to have lunch. Beryl finds that restaurant very stylish and Beryl says to Alusha that if you had not brought me here then I would never have come here on my own. Then we see that the waiter brings their dishes and that food is decorated very nicely. Then Beryl starts eating lunch and then Alusha thinks in her mind that going shopping together and eating lunch together. This is definitely a date and thinking this Alusha starts feeling very happy and we see that Karuni and Henblitz are also watching them there. Then Karuni says to Henblitz that it looks like the commander is enjoying this a lot. So Henblitz says right. I have never seen her this much happy. Then we see that both of them finish their shopping and in the end Beryl had chosen the same clothes which he had picked first. And because of doing this Beryl feels bad for Alusha. So Alusha says to him that if you like it then that is all that matters. Then Alusha remembers that first incident where Beryl had asked her to go eat food together. And then Alusha says to Beryl that time we could not go for eating food. But now we did it. So Beryl asks her what are you talking about? So Alusha says nothing. Then we see that Beryl leaves from there and Alsha is standing there watching him. Then Hans comes near her and says to her that I was watching you. But Alusha has no problem with this. Then Henblitz says to her that can I ask you something? So Alusha says yes to him. Then Henblitz asks her that what do you feel about Master Beryl? But then the scene changes and we see the next day's scene. We see that all the knights are practicing. Then Karoni comes to Henblitz and says sorry to him and says that when you went to the commander I got very shocked and I ran away from there. So Henblitz says to her that I didn't tell the commander anything about you so you don't need to worry. Then we see that Alosha comes there and we see that Karuni is feeling very nervous in talking to Alosha and then she says to her that I will go and practice my sword swings and saying this she runs away from there and then we see that earlier scene where Alusha answers Henblitz and says that I just want to keep my master happy. Then Alosha says to Henblitz that when master comes here then I will challenge him for a duel. Hearing this, Henblitz gets a little shocked, so Alosha tells him that here nobody doubts Master's powers. But before Master meets the royal family, we will also get another solid proof of his powers. Then Henblitz asks her that is this the only reason for you to fight him? So Alusha says to him that if I beat him then I am thinking that I will tell him about my real feelings. And saying this, Alusha goes away from there. Then we see that Karuni comes to Henbreeds and asks him what were you both talking about just now? So Henbreeds tells her everything, and then we see that Beryl comes there. Everyone greets him good morning, and then Alosha greets him good morning and says that I want to fight with you. Alusha tells him that those special VIPs are about to arrive. So I am thinking that I should also do some workout. So Beryl says to her that practicing with someone is better than practicing alone. And then he says yes to her. Then we see that both of them get ready for duel with each other. And then Alusha asks Beryl that do you know what people call me here? So Beryl asks her what do they say? So Alusha tells him that they call me lightning fast Alsha. And then Henblitz gives them the signal, and as soon as signal is given, Alusha with very fast speed comes and attacks Beryl. But Beryl dodges it. Beryl, seeing that attack, says that this attack was so fast that I couldn't even see it properly. Then Alusha attacks him 2 more times. But Beryl again blocks them. So Alusha says to him that till today nobody has blocked me 3 times. Then Beryl thinks in his mind that I am not getting any sign of her movement. Then Alusha again comes with great speed and attacks him. But Beryl again blocks it. Seeing this, Beryl thinks in his mind that she is exactly like her nickname. I cannot just keep dodging her attacks. Which means I will also have to attack her. And saying this, Beryl attacks her. But Alusha is blocking all his attacks. And then Alusha and Beryl start fighting each other dangerously. And we see that Alusha starts overpowering Beryl. And while fighting her, Beryl thinks in his mind that if I defeat her then she will become an even better sportsman. Then Alsha says to Beryl that I am very happy that I am showing you what all skills I have learned. So Beryl says to her that what you are showing me is very amazing. Then we see that Beryl is keeping very focused eyes on Alusha, and then suddenly Alusha again with great speed attacks him. Beryl blocks that attack and thinks in his mind that maybe she is using her knees very well. Because of which it seems like she moves suddenly. Then Beryl thinks that but just knowing this does not make it easy to stop her attacks, and her eyes and reflexes are so sharp that I am not able to land even one hit on her. And all this means that an opponent like her I cannot defeat in a fair fight at all. Then we see that Alusha attacks Beryl. Beryl dodges that attack. But then Alusha gets one weak point of Beryl. Alusha is just about to attack there. But then Beryl grabs Alusha's clothes and makes her fall down, and then he defeats her. Crew asks Henblitz that is this right? So Henblitz says to her that in a real battle there are no rules, and anyway he is the only one who can do this with Commander. Then Beryl says to Alusha that your sportsmanship is very good, or maybe too good, so your opponents will not always fight with you fairly. So you should keep this in mind. Then Alusha says thank you to him, and then Beryl goes to have lunch. Then we see that Karuni comes to Alusha and says to her that you were saying that if you beat Master then you would tell him about your real feelings. So Alsha says to her that if I had one then I would have asked Master to buy some new clothes for me, and hearing this Karuni gets very shocked. Then we see that Karuni also goes for lunch, and then Henblitz says to her that can I ask you a question? So Alusha says yes to him. Then Helbitz says to her that if you had one then were you really going to tell him about your feelings? Right. So Alusha says to him that I want to see my master happy, and it would be very wonderful if the one making him happy is me. But it is not necessary that it is only me. But we see that Henblitz does not understand her words. Then we see the night scene, and we see that Beryl is having dinner in his house, and he had told everything to MUI. MUI asks him that do you think that was a fair fight? So Beryl says yes, and seeing my student this strong makes me very happy. Then MUI says to him that could it be that she wants that you give your full attention only to her? And then MUI says to him that in that yesterday's shopping trip also she had invited you. I think that girl likes you. But we see that Beryl stops her in the middle and says to her that you should not say anything more. She asks why. So Beryl says to her that she is my student and there is a very big age gap between us. So hearing this, MUI says to him that you are worrying too much about such small things. So Beryl says to her that if an old man like me stops caring about these things then everything will be over. And then we see that the episode ends here. So guys, this was episode 8 of From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman. If you liked the video then like the video, subscribe the channel, press the bell icon. I will meet you in the next video. Thank you.